so I'm here with Andreeas Binder today, and we're going to talk a little bit about his career, but we're going to start from the beginning. So when did you move to Ireland, and then how did you find it integrating into the culture in here? Because obviously it was different.
So I moved to Ireland when I was, I think, 7 or 8. So I've been here about 18 years. Obviously, it was tough at the start because English wasn't my main language. But obviously, being a foreigner, do you know what I mean? In Ireland, like you're obviously going to be that, you're always going to be treated differently. But it is what it is. We just got used to it. I could say I'm practically Irish now at this stage. But yeah, it was tough at the start, especially with bullying. But it is what it is.
With the bullying, is that what then led you into combat sports? That you wanted to defend yourself? Is that how that came about, or how did you transition into combat sports?
Yeah, that was mainly the reason. Like my dad was always saying to me, like you see, my dad was doing Shotokan karate back then, and he was quite good at it. And he was always saying to me, like, look, I didn't make you to come home getting the head kicked off you every day. Like so, I was just getting sick of it. Like I could stand up for myself, but I was kind of like scared to do it, kind of way. Like I didn't want to hurt people, should I say? And then I just one day it just clicked into my head. I was like, look, I'm sick of this. So started whoever started picking on me, just started dropping them. Yeah, don't start hitting people, guys. Just saying. But yeah, you just need to stand up for yourself, really. And it just kind of like improved my confidence joining a martial art instead of anything else, really. So I started off with judo to start off. Then I went into boxing, and the rest is history, really. Like this is where I am now.
Yeah, no, and obviously you've got the secondary black belt in judo. You've done boxing. You've done so many other sports as well. But one thing I want to ask you: when you did stand up to the bullies, did you find once that happened, it stopped because they seem to pick on people who don't stand up for yourselves? So once you started fighting back, did it stop or did it continue or what way?
Um, it kind of like some cases it got worse because like you'd beat someone up, so they'd bully you, you'd beat them up, and then they'll call his older brothers and all that stuff. But then in other cases, like they'll be like, right, I'm not gonna mess with him again. But no, it kind of like build a name for myself. Be like, look, he can actually stand up for himself. So bullying did kind of stop, but like yet again, people kind of grow out of it as well. Like the older you get, people kind of cop onto themselves and be like, they don't see the point of bullying anymore. But at the start, they just wanted to kind of show who's the man of the house kind of way,
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's basically it. Like it got better as the years went on.
Yeah, no. Like with that, I don't think it's like you said. People grow out of it. I think kids especially don't understand the effect that has on someone at a young age as well. Because I know people have gone through bullying and stuff like that, and at that age, like it does weigh on people. So obviously, so don't bully people if you are a kid or a teenager because the effect that it has. But look what it's done. It's made a champion out of
Yeah,
you. So
yeah.
um, moving through, obviously you've done judo, you've done kickboxing, you've done everything basically. What made you go to the MMA route?
Uh, what was it like? I was winning everything in judo. I was winning everything like between All Ireland's, international competitions, you name it. Then I was doing a lot of K1 as well. I was winning a lot of fights in K1, and then my dad kind of came up with the idea. He was like, "Why don't we try and mix everything up now between your striking, your clinch work, your ground game, and let's try and mix it all up." I remember before I even went to the MMA, I was still training judo and in Athenry Judo Club in Galway, and there was an MMA competition in Shaolin, an intra club, and I rang my judo coach and I was like, "Look, there's this competition. What do you think? Should I enter it just to see how I get on?" I remember I had 3 novice MMA fights and I finished them all in the first round by armbar and everything. I was like, oh, this is unreal. Like that kind of like adrenaline rush that I got. It was something different, like surreal moment kind of. And then Benjamin Davis, my old MMA coach, got on to me and was like, oh, I see a lot of potential in you, and look, let's give it a go. So then I started MMA, and it's just I seen the progression I was making. Like I remember I had my first amateur fight. I was only like 17, and I fought in Galway, my first show ever, and I was like, this is unreal. Like my mother never approved of me doing MMA, but I was
Yeah.
like, look, I'm good at it. Just come down and see how I get on. she came down. She ended up bringing about half a Galway down with her. Like, it was over in Leisureland, and yeah, it was just something different. I fell in love with that sport then.
Yeah, no, 100%. Because I heard you speaking before. You always, when you were fighting regionally, you always brought a crowd with you. What does it mean to you for friends and family to actually make that journey? Because you said it's quite special. Like, when you're at the start, no, it's when you see obviously people get to a certain stage that they're being followed and this and that. But at that stage, how vital was that to you and your confidence and what you wanted to do going forward? Them coming.
Um, Look, support means the world to me, especially like even regardless if you're a pro, if you're a novice, if you're amateur, it doesn't really matter. Like, when you hear your friends, your family kind of like chanting your name, especially when you're in shit situations, like, you know, like you could be getting the head kicked off you, but you hear that crowd cheering your name, it just gives you that extra oomph kind of thing, like, you know, and just push yourself harder and like train. But yeah, a lot of people kind of like I'm lucky enough that I have very, very good friends, and they've been supporting me since my amateur days, and they've been coming literally to France, to UK, to everywhere supporting me. So it means the world in that sense, because they see what goes behind closed doors as well, kind of like, you know, with the weight cuts, with the training camp and everything. They don't just see the performance on the night. So it's nice to get that. Like, it's just kind of like it's um it's a different experience. It's very hard to explain, but it's a different experience to get all that support from everyone, you know.
Yeah, no, 100%. With your first fight there, you talked about being in Galway, also you're from Galway. Talk us through how the feelings and all you're going through, like coming up to the amateur. I know you had exhibition fights. How did it feel, or novice fight? Sorry. How did it feel actually going out and making that walk in Galway? And what was the feeling? Was there any nerves, anxiety, confidence, happy, excited? What was going through your mind the week and then in the fight?
Um, the week, so say fight week, I was okay, I suppose. Like, you know, I done all the training, all the hard work was done, everything. So I was like, just go in there and perform. But then I remember, like, my opponent, he was 41 or 42, and I was only 17. I was like, oh, this is gonna be like, I didn't know. Well, like, the experience, I was like, I'm so scared. I was scared. I was
Yeah.
not gonna lie, I was shitting myself. And I was hearing him hit pads in the back, and I was like, oh my god, he's gonna spark me clean out. Like, you know, all these moments go into your head, and I'm like, what do I do? Like, and then I remember I went in the cage, hearing everyone. I think my heart was pounding about 190 beats per minute at that stage. And then I heard everyone kind of screaming my name, and they all had kind of like banners with my name. Let's go, Andreas, and this, that, and the other. I was like, this is mad. And I went in there. I remember first exchange. I was like, right, this feels natural to me now at this stage. And it was 3 rounds back and forth, absolutely punching the head of each other. I had no ground game at that stage. So every time I got him to the ground, I was kicking him, punching him. I was like, come on, stand up, stand up. And I was just standing and trading with this old man, 42. I think it's somewhere up here anyway, this one here. And it was just mad. It was the best experience of my life, you know. And then, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, the first 5, 6 fights, I was always in that zone. I'm so scared. I was scared, really, like,
Yeah.
nerves kicking into me, and yeah, it was just, the rest is history, really.
Yeah. So what you said the first 4 or 5 fights you were scared. What then changed? What was it? The experience?
I think so. You see, I started getting K1 fights in between MMA fights as well. So, like, a month I could fight maybe one MMA fight, two K1 fights as well, just to stay busy and kind of get that ring experience and cage experience, just kind of like dealing with people, dealing with the crowd, and kind of like, you know, because you're never always going to fight in your home backyard. So you're going to, most of my fights were in Dublin, so I was always 2.5 hours driving up. And yeah, just getting the feel of the atmosphere, being in there and fighting, I suppose. But yeah, once I got rid of them, those butterflies kind of went, and I'm like, you know what, I love this. I kind of like, now I see myself in the back, warming up and everything. I'm dancing, I'm singing, because I'm so excited to go in and actually show people what I've been working on the last fucking 3, 4 months, you know.
Yeah, so you're more relaxed, and you see that with a lot of fighters now that they're out the back and they're dancing, and
Yeah,
that's obviously that's comes through experience and then confidence. And like you said, you want to show people what you've been working on because they don't see the hard work in the background.
yeah.
You've had quite a decorated amateur career. You've picked up quite a few belts, cage conflict, clan wars. You also are the only person to beat Ian Gary as well. So you fought him twice, well, three times, I believe, is it?
Yeah.
So once in MMA, K1,
And
and then
judo, yeah.
judo. So talk us through those and how they went.
So I remember he was up and coming prospect in Ireland. I think he was on a 4 win streak or something, and he, I think it was the number one contender fight for the Clan Wars title. So I was like, look, no one wanted to fight him. I was like, give him to me, I'll fight him. At that stage, I think I was 6-4 or 5-4, something like that, amateur. But like my 4 losses, they were against good guys and experienced guys. But like that's the thing, like people back then they were always kind of like padding records. I was like, just give me whoever. Like I didn't care at that stage. I just wanted to build experience, fight. Perfect example is Carmen Conway. He's fighting every weekend. So yeah, we fought then on Clan Wars. I won on a split decision. I knew he was a decent striker because he came from a boxing background. So I was closing the distance, picking him apart with the wrestling, bouncing him. It was a good fight, back and forth. Then a couple of months later, we fought on a K1 show on CRC for the CRC belt. So I got greedy and I wanted to be a triple champion of that promotion. So I wanted to fight for the K1 title at 82. We fought and I lost that on the decision as well. And then we fought judo throughout the years, and I won a judo competition. I think it was the All Ireland's or Leinster's Open. I can't remember really, but yeah, it was kind of like, it was nice to kind of sit up with the top lads in Ireland. Do you know what I mean? Like fight with them and show that I belong at the top of the ranks up here. Like this was an amateur, like so I didn't think about the pro at that stage at all. But thinking of the amateur scene, I was like, I belong at the top here and beating the lads. And I seen each fight I was fine, I was progressing, so I was like, right, I'm doing something right. So yeah.
Yeah, with that, and then to go to see what he's gone on to now as well must give you some inspiration. Think like you beat him a couple of years ago. Obviously, you're both completely different fighters than you were then. But to see him going, does that give you like say, well, look, if he's got there, I'm gonna eventually get there myself.
Yeah, look, I'm like, that's the thing with me. I'll never hold grudges against anyone, and that's the way I was raised, and that's the way I am. I'm delighted he's doing so well for himself, and I hope he continues to do well, because at the end of the day, Ireland's such a small country. Like the more UFC fighters we have, and the more great fighters we have coming out of this small Ireland, do you know what I mean? It kind of like, it shows that we're grafting. Like I see the amateurs these days, they could be top pro levels in different countries like easily. And yeah, look, I'll get there. I know for a fact I will. Like, but everyone's stage and everyone's kind of like journey is different. Like he just got that route. He went the Cage Warriors route and he got there. I'm just gonna keep on grafting, putting my name out there in the European scene like I've been doing, and I'll get there eventually. More than likely next year. That's the plan anyway. So we'll go from there.
Yeah, we're just going to finish up on your amateur career because obviously you won Best Cage Conflict or Clan Wars, and like what you said, obviously you had was it a 5-4 record. People, like I said, people tend to pad their records. That why did you take the best fighters? Because you wanted, once you go pro, there's no turning back. So like even if you had a 50-50 record going into pro, no one, like to the casual fan, unless you really research it, no one really cares. So like, did you learn a lot from those losses in those times?
Oh, 100%. Like when I finished off my amateur career, I was 10-5 in MMA, and I was 9-1 in K1. So I had a lot of fights under my belt, and I fought great guys. But it kind of developed me in different aspects, not just fighting style, but like dealing with a loss more than anything, and kind of like getting back to it as well. It's just, it develops you as a fighter, like. And at amateur, like I was on the rampage at that stage. I remember I had my 3 novice wins, and then I was 3-0. I was 6-0 at that stage. I was like, oh, I'll fight anyone or whatever. And then I remember I had my first loss against Glenn Irvine. I went up to middleweight. I was literally walking around 85, 86. I only cut a kilo, and then he was cutting from about 90 something kilos. I was like, yeah, that didn't go my way, but look, I'm not gonna lie, I hit depression for about a month over it. Like I was like, this is the worst feeling of my life, losing. Obviously, when you're such in a high, should I say? But it's part of the game, and then you learn from it. And I knew for a fact that I'll get better and better and better, and that's what I did.
You know, and then you've gone on to the pro scene now as well, and you've been fighting in Europe and all. But we're going to go back to your very first pro fight. Tell us the difference of like the nerve. Obviously, you said you were scared for your amateur. What was it like going out for pro? Because there is a lot of pressure going out for a pro fight. Um, it was you. It was a doctor stoppage with a knee injury.
Yeah, I dislocated my knee in the first round, and I was like, I should be okay. I'll just pop in again in the second round, and then my knee just went, and that was it really. Like I just dislocated my knee. I was doing, at the back it was grand. Obviously there's always gonna be sequences going through your head. Be like, right, there's this involved, or like longer rounds and everything. But you train for them, especially at the latter kind of stages of your amateur career. You train to go as a pro, so I was kind of ready for the pro ranks at that stage. Do you know what I mean? It was all down to my coach really to tell me when to go, and I did. And yeah,
And then we move on to your second fight. So obviously with the first one, you said you used to take losses hard, but because of the nature of that one, I would presume you didn't take it that hard because it was an injury.
yeah,
It happens, and then you move on. Then the second one, do you want to talk us through what happened there as well?
yeah. So the second fight, I was fighting on Clan Wars. I was scheduled to fight Dermot from Team Rhino. Everything was falling into place with the weight cut, with fight camp. Everything was perfect. Like we were going in there. We were good friends at that stage, so it didn't really phase me at all. Then first round, I was taking him down. I think it was up against the cage, and it was just an accidental elbow at the back of my head. So at that stage, I don't know, it hit a nerve, and my right side just went numb, and I just got scared. I was like, "That's it, I'm paralyzed." There's, everything just goes through your head at that stage, like, and there was just a lot of kind of like back and forth online stuff and everything, but no one saw that I was stuck in bed for about a week or 2 weeks, like trying to get my mobility again in my hand and everything, and physios and everything saying, look, it was just a blow on a nerve at the back of your head. So that went out the window. Then afterwards, we just kind of like I took that sour pill kind of thing. Like, I was just so angry. Like I trained so hard for this fight just to come down into the first round at that no contest. Do you know what I mean? So we were like, I need to get this back. We need to fight again. And back and forth, we fought then after like a couple of months on cage conflict. Um, and I got him back for it.
Yeah, you did indeed. I want to touch on like when that hit, you felt that feeling like you said you don't know if you're paralyzed, like, and then you're in bed for 2 weeks, and then you have someone like talking about you and going back and forth and saying stuff like what did that make you feel? Think like I'm lying in bed here, I can't move, and like he's saying this, like how did that, like, were you not like, because you were probably considering, am I going to be able to fight again? I would presume.
Yeah, that was the main thing. Like, it wasn't really Dermot I was saying all this shit.
Yeah.
Really, like, on social media and stuff. It was kind of like more of his fans and stuff like
Yeah.
that, and other people. But I kind of like played it as in I didn't really care at that stage. I just wanted to get better, really. And then, like I said, after a couple of weeks, I got kind of mobility in my hands and on my right side anyway, and it was grand. It was just a nerve damage really, but it just took ages to kind of get me going into training again, because I was kind of like hesitant of even going for a takedown or anything really. I was kind of like getting scared. What if it can happen again, or this? It's always gonna be played at the back of your head. So yeah, I just wanted to get back training again. So I was back in training after like 4 or 5 weeks. And I was ready to go again, really, because all the training, I was training for this fight. I was over in Thailand training for 2.5 months. I was there training hard. So then when people started saying I was trying to get an easy way out of it, like, I wouldn't be traveling to Thailand to train my bollocks off, spending money, every day on training camp and dieting and everything. If I want an easy way out, I would have just missed weight. Do you know what I mean? But I'm not
Yeah.
that type of person, you know. But yeah, I just kind of I took a lot of it to heart, especially at the pro game. You just need to kind of like be prepared to fight. Really, like I could be fine next week. I was always staying ready. So yeah, it just I kind of took it to heart more than anything. But I just wanted them to get this fight back and just kind of prove everyone wrong that I wasn't looking for a way out. You know.
Yeah, no, as you did, and like, do you feel now I don't know if any criticism goes your way. Do you feel now, obviously, if you're going to be on these big stages, do you feel that you're better at handling that now if that comes across your way? Like,
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. Like I said, I done all my mistakes and everything at amateur. Now you're just kind of like refining your weapons really that you have between mental strength and physical strength and your IQ in the game. But now I'm just going in there to actually showcase exactly what I learned in training, follow the game plan, and if the game plan goes out the window, I'll just improvise and we'll still get a finish.
yeah, no, because after that, then you won that fight, you went on a rampage then, finishing everyone. So then, talk us through that little moment, like that run there where you're finishing everyone. You picked up titles in Cage Conflict and Clan Wars.
Yeah,
You actually wanted to kind of get everyone in Ireland, but you were finding it hard to get matched there. So
yeah,
talk us
yeah,
through that little run, then trying to get matched in Ireland to try and get all, because you want to get all the belts and then go into
yeah.
Europe. So if you want to speak on that little part of time.
So I remember I fought for. So this was my after the no contest. I fought for the Liam got onto us and was like, right, let's make this interesting. You and Dermot fight for the Cage Conflict title. I was like, yeah, let's do it straight away. I didn't even care if it was for a title or not. I just wanted to fight Dermot and just that was it. Knocked him out then in the second round. Then after that, I went to I fought on Clan Wars, and I remember it was during COVID because I was finding it very hard to try and get a fight because it was during COVID and everything. So it was all pay per view links and stuff. So then I fought Vadim in the main event, submitted him with an armbar. After that, I defended my Cage Conflict title in Falls Park. That was the best experience of my life. It was just like thousands of people, outdoor event. It was during the Fela when Michael Conlon fought on the Wednesday. I think we fought on the Friday. So it was mad scenes, loads of supporters up. I TKO'd him then, or knocked him out in the third round. Oh, sorry, the first round as well. Then I fought against Janderson for the Clan Wars title, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna be the first person in Clan Wars history to have the amateur title and the pro title under my belt, like, you know, because I was like, no one has done it, and I'm gonna do it. And I was like, Jonathan's a great fight because he knocked out in his last fight. I can't remember who he knocked out with that flying knee. So I was like, right, all this is gonna be class. It's gonna be a lethal match. He won't be backing down. I won't be backing down. So it'll be great. Finished him then in the third round, and then I fought Rostam, a former UFC fighter, former Cage Warriors fighter. He was, I think, all his finishes, 6 fights were all by knockout, and I was like, I'm gonna knock him out as well and prove a point in Europe. Knocked him out as well in the second round, yeah. But before I even went, kind of like across the pond, like fighting on big European shows and everything, I wanted to fight for the Cage Cage Legacy belt, so then I could have all the major promotions in Ireland, all the belts. And I think I was meant to schedule to fight Richard Kyle, but he had a knee injury or shoulder injury, I can't remember, so that fell through. So I was like, right, well, that's not going ahead. Then I just had a few fights pulled. Then we were meant to fight Marcin Zimbala as well, but stuff popped up as well. But it is what it is. Then we just went across, and now I'm fighting in the European scene, and I want to kind of cement my name in the European game, and just put this little island on big promotions again.
As you have done actually, like you actually have the Irish flag and the Romanian
Yeah.
flag when you go to shows. That Falls Park I actually want to touch on because I wasn't at that and I didn't see it. Like that looked amazing. But have you ever before that had you ever fought in an outside venue like that?
No, I've never did.
What happens if it rained?
Well, the fighters were covered, like, as we were kind of on top of a stage and stuff. But I was just so surreal. Like, it was so, I don't know. I've never experienced that. You know what I mean? In my own head, I was like, I was probably absolutely freezing outside, and like we're fighting all that, but it was fucking roasting up there. Like, it was so hot. Like, and because I don't know, it was just a surreal moment, man. Do you know what I mean? Seeing all my supporters, I think we had about 50 something lads came up from Galway, all wearing my Andreas Judoka top and everything, and just supporting me. It was unreal. But the best moment of that, say, after I finished them, stepping on top of the cage in front of an open crowd of thousands of people, and I was like, I've done it. It was just something else.
Yeah, no, I can remember that image because I seen it, and where you run and you're just looking out, and there's just it's like a festival
Yeah,
basically.
yeah.
It looked unreal, and obviously you fought on Clan Wars as well, which is another really good promotion. So once you got that belt and you got that record, like how did you feel, especially with that fight? That was a hell of a fight. That was some fight.
Yeah, look, it was a very tough fight, but I knew it was going to be a tough fight. I knew Janderson's a game opponent, but I think it was 6 months when I was training out of SPG Charlestown at that stage, and I just wanted to show that I improved my striking. I done this, and I was doing great on my feet. Like I wasn't worried. Obviously, I got caught with two spinning elbows that I'll never live down. But it just shows I have heart and I have a chin there made of granite. Do you know what I mean? Like you're gonna take a lot more to knock me out, and I showed that I have a lot of heart, and it's whoever wanted it more. So I think when I ate those shots, he hit me with the best shots he had, and I showed. I was like, look, you're gonna have to do more than that. That kind of like gave me that extra boost and everything, and especially like I said, having the crowd behind me. I had about 100 something people come up to see me, and hearing them shout my name. I was like, right, I'm not getting finished. I'm gonna finish him, and I showed. I was progressing as each round was going. It's like, right, let's keep on going. I have cardio for days, so I'm not really worried about that. But yeah, it was a tough fight, and fair play to him. Like I generally hope he does well in Cage Warriors again. But no one's taking that belt away from me. Like
Yeah, no, it was some fight. When I seen you get hit with the elbow and you kind of dropped, I was like, oh, like it for me. It was one of the best fights I kind of seen since I looked at the regional scene. But like that, you got up, you persevered, you went through, and then you obviously got to win, and that's the sign of a champion. To be able to go through that. So then that brings us to your last fight. Obviously, you've been on that streak. You go over on another European promotion. Just talk us through that fight.
yeah, so I fought on Inferno FC there in Austria again, but I don't want to be finding excuses. Look, he was the better man, and I fought Roberto Pastuch. He's Alexander Racic. He's just signed to the UFC. Obviously, he's main head coach, BJ black belt. I knew he was going to be a very tough fight. Like he was 10-5 going in. I was only 5-1. I was going into that fight, and I knew he would be a tough fight. But I knew what his strong points are. Is going to be his wrestling and his ground. So I was like, right, that's fine. I'll keep him on the feet. Follow the game plan. But everything just wasn't. I don't know. Everything kind of wasn't falling into place for me. Like I don't want to find excuses and stuff because that's not how I am. But between like missing flights and then delays and this and that and the other, like I don't know, maybe it was more psychological, kind of like messing up my head more than anything. And I kind of like focused much more on the striking game than falling back to my roots of wrestling. Like, do you know what I mean? Like focus on my judo and focus on my clinch and stuff. So it was kind of like, I don't know, I just didn't feel comfortable in there, should I say, like, okay, he's going to do this. But I knew he was going to do that. So it was kind of like playing at his game instead of playing at my own game. So
Kind of let him dictate.
exactly, I kind of let him be on the front foot because I'm always on the front foot. I always want to control that center of the cage and be like, right, I dictate what I'm going to do from here. I'm either going to knock you out or take you down and finish you on the ground. But I just kind of let that get at me. So he took me down. I remember I rocked him with a left hook in the first round. He took me down. I got back up, and then I rocked him again with a head kick, and he took me down. I was like, how is this man still standing? Like, what's wrong with him? You know, it kind of just fell into my head. And then I remember he took me down. He was holding me down. He wasn't doing any damage, but he was just waiting for that moment just to kind of like sink in the arm and get the rear naked choke. But he had my right hand trapped and my foot trapped like a kind of Dagestani cuff. But what it was kind of like he was playing in my own game because I usually do that as well. So I was like, what's going on here? Like, I don't do these mistakes in training. What's going on here? So then, I don't know what went through my head. I think it was just the pressure got to me. And I tried freeing the leg with my arms. I just gave him my neck instead of just keep fighting the hand because there was nothing there. You know, he wasn't doing any damage. And afterwards, he came up to me. He was like, that was my game. I wasn't going to stand and trade with you. I just want to take you down and finish you there. Like, and I just learned so much. But fair enough, I was going in with a momentum, I think I put too much pressure on myself more than anything because I was, oh, he's finishing everyone, he's going to finish him. And I kind of looked past him kind of way, like, you know what I mean? But could have sat it on my ass then for a month or whatever and just cry about it or whatever. But the fight was on the Saturday, took Sunday off, and I was back in training on Monday. I was like, I've no injury, so I'm gonna work on that mistake. So I've been working, like, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks straight, just on that little stupid mistake that I done, that I just gave in my neck. And now the lads are not doing that in training anymore. But I was like, why can't I do this in the fight? Do you know what I mean? But it's a fighter's mentality. Like, you have to do these, mistakes and everything in training. But obviously my mistake was I done it in the fight and it cost me the fight. But it is what it is. No one's invincible. I know for a fact no one's invincible, and everyone's always going to go at some stage. You know?
Yeah, especially in MMA where there's so many different disciplines that come involved and so many different stylistic matchups. But obviously, that it goes to show how you've kind of come full circle from. You talked about when you took your first loss at amateur, you were going through depression and stuff for like a month, and then your next fight. This is with flights back from Austria, mind you. You're back, so you're probably flying through the Saturday and the Sunday, or
Yeah.
the Sunday, and then you're back. So you don't really get a day off, and then you're back in training, getting ready for the next one. So that just shows how your mentality went from one to the other, and it shows what those amateur fights done and the early pro fights have done for your mindset. So for any amateurs that are going to be watching, when you take the loss, don't take it as a learning experience, because obviously it'll build you to up where the likes of Andreas and other professional fighters are now. Going forward, you've another fight coming up. Do you want to tell people where it is, when it is, and
Yeah.
who it's for?
So I'm fighting again in 5 weeks on the 9th of September. I'm fighting again in Austria because now I'm trying to kind of build that fan base in Austria, Germany, kind of Eastern Europe. I'm fighting on Cage Fight Series again. I fought in Cage Fight Series when I fought Rostem, and they wanted me back on because I bring a crowd. I can talk the talk and walk the walk, and I have an exciting style of fighting, and it's in Vienna. Um, yeah, it's going to be myself and Jer fighting on that show from Ireland. So there's both of us on the show, and what else? And it's on UFC Fight Pass. So that's another fight on UFC Fight Pass, and kind of building that exposure and building my brand, and we go from there and just put on another performance. I'm fighting a game opponent. He's 5-3 Christian Valencia from Spain. Fought tough lads, but nothing I can really handle. Like, I'm ready for everything. If the fight goes to the ground, I'll finish him on the ground. If the fight stands up, I'll finish him standing up. There's no shortcuts in this camp at all. And I think my last loss was it built me. How should I say? There's just no more pressure on me, but I'm more hungrier than ever. Really, like, I just want to prove a point again and get back to those winning ways, should I say, and just winning streak again.
Yeah, no, and so obviously if you don't have Fight Pass, it's like 12, €10 a month or something. So obviously get it to watch Andrew's fight, and as well as that, with that you've so much more content to previous UFCs, and it's only a tenner a month. Actually, that's what I want to ask you. When you seen yourself on UFC Fight Pass, because obviously you were on with the fight. I think there was an interview with you with Energized. When you see like yourself on UFC Fight Pass, like what did that feel like to type in your name and you pop up on the Fight Pass?
It's kind of like part of the journey, really. Like, look, I'm on TV and this, that, and the other on UFC Fight Pass. Yeah, fair enough, but I'm doing all the work behind the scenes, to get me to where I need to be. So it obviously feels amazing and feels great, but still a lot of work to be done to get where I need to get. So yeah, it's nice to get a bit of recognition, and kind of shows me the work I've been doing throughout the years to get me where I need to be.
Yeah, because a lot of fighters speak that they don't get a lot of recognition, and I think you said it previously as well. And then, are you happy now that you're getting it and more fighters in Ireland are getting it, that there's more outlets and stuff for people to speak? And how does it feel then when you start getting recognised? It feels good, yeah?
Yeah, look, it's about time, really. We're getting a bit more recognition and everything. Especially, I find I get more recognition now because I'm living and training in Dublin. But it's very hard to get any recognition down the west, and it's about time, really. And I'm glad to see it between like podcasts and like newspaper articles and everything. Everyone's actually getting it now, and it's surreal. Like it's about time, really, should I say?
Yeah, no, the scene at the minute is exploding. Like you said, there's some amateurs now that could be like starting a pro that they're better than pro. So it just goes to show the level in this country and how everything's going. I'm gonna ask you one or two more questions and then we're gonna wrap it up. Owen Roddy, uh, how is it training with him and what has he done for you since you've been in Charlestown?
Look, Owen is an absolute beast. Like he's even now, he can come back from retirement and just start sparking people for fun. No, he's done so much for me. Like between aspect of my game and building me as, should I say, as a man as well. Just like opening my eyes a bit more and giving me more opportunities and just like little things like that. That oh, he give me a text. Where were you at training tonight? Or you need to work on this, and just like little sequences like that. But no, it developed my game big time, and not just him, but like all the lads in the gym. I can see progression every day going into training. You know, it's in between my striking. The striking has definitely developed big time because I had no striking. Yeah, it's just he's a complete mixed martial art coach. You know, he's not just a striker. You see him on the ground, he's fucking submitting left, right, and centre every single one of the lads. So yeah, I'll get him one day.
One day.
One day, yeah.
I'm gonna ask you a couple of questions on your fight. So I want you to pick a fight, your favorite knockout, your favorite fight, and then a fight that you learned the most from. That could be a win or a loss. It doesn't have to be a loss necessarily.
Ooh, tough one. Favorite knockout will definitely be Ross Stems because it went fire. Like the lad was on a different planet. Like he was asleep for about a week. You said submission as well, was it?
No, favorite performance or fight, like a back and forth. Or
Okay. Favorite fight will definitely have to be against Janderson. It was definitely a back and forth, but I really had to dig deep and get the finish over him, and I did. Performance.
Oh, no, sorry. The next one is last is that you learned the most from.
Learn the most. Oh, tough one. Probably have to be my last fight. I definitely learned more about myself more than anything. I'll say my first amateur loss. Yeah, definitely my first amateur loss against Glenn Irvine. Yeah, I learned a lot from that fight. Really, and some people, you see, amateur when they lose their first fight, they could like just hang up their gloves and then fight again, or like I said, I fell into a very dark place for a couple of months and I just didn't want to be part of MMA. I didn't want to do anything. I went bad. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, that was definitely a turning point in my career. Should I say? It was either, like I said, sit at home and keep on doing what I'm doing and just get fat and just like go into depression really, like, or get back into training and prove a point. And yeah, it was definitely that was a turning point in my career.
Yeah, because like that, help your mental health, keep you fit, healthy, and then like that, it just shows trust the process because things will turn around eventually. So,
but do you know what it was like? I noticed that, especially even now at pro or even at amateur, like everyone wants to be your friend and all that stuff when you're winning. Everyone's messaging you, oh, congrats, man, you're a beast, and sharing your stories or this, that, and the other. But then when you lose a fight, it's only the close people around you that will actually message you, oh, hope you're coping okay, hope you're doing well, hope you're alright. And then it's quiet. Do you know what I mean? It's a tough sport, should I say. Do you know what I mean? And it's that's why I'm lucky to have the friends and the family that I have around me, because they've been, like I said, they've been with me since day one. But you kind of open your eyes and you see like everyone's on top of you, like, oh, best of luck, you're an absolute animal and you're doing this and that and the other, like blowing smoke up your ass kind of way, like. But then when you actually do lose a fight, you see that who's around you and who's not, you know.
yeah, because it's a very fickle and lonely sport, and that's why, like you said, that what with your mother bringing half a Galway with her, and like obviously you've your girlfriend, your friends and stuff like that. So obviously you always valued them, but now you see like everything outside that is kind of like white knight. Like it's not that it doesn't matter because you do need support, but you don't lean too heavily on what other people think. Then your close circle.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's the only way really. Like it is a lone sport. It's a team sport in senses that without your team, you can't get to where you are. But once that cage door closes, or you're in the ring, or whatever it is, or you're on the mat, you're alone. So like, you're gonna get exposed if you didn't put in the work. It's that simple. Like, you know, it's a tough sport, so you just gotta put in the work, I suppose.
Right, one more question and then we're going to wrap it up. So, when your career is finished, how would you like to be remembered? Whether it's like from fighting, from fighting, or as a person, a phrase or a word or something that comes to mind.
Champion mentality, really. Do you know what it was? Like I said, I've always done it. I've never done it for the money or whatever. Like, obviously money is great and all that, but money comes and goes. It's the little things that I see when I was coaching the kids over in Galway, like between judo and kickboxing. I was coaching them, and they'd hit me a message, "Oh, congrats, coach! I can't wait to be one day be like you." So seeing little kids like that looking up to me as a role model for them, that's what I like to see. You know, and it's fair enough. All the belts and trophies and this is great, but I want them to kind of look up as a good person that I am, and kind of like be a role model for them, and that, you know what I mean. Like, I'm doing this to show that people that were bullied as a kid can evolve and be a better person, and that's what I've become. So yeah, I want them to look up to me as a role model, really.
You know, that's 100%, and you're doing a good job at it. I want to thank you so much for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you so much.
To meet you again.
Thank you.
And we will have talk soon before you fight.
Perfect.
Perfect. Thank you.
Cheers. Thank you.